That is the boldest thing I've heard. Wow.
AFC South title and wins MVP.
Dude, I can't take you seriously.
Really?
502 games.
No way.
No way. I could have ran for 100 yards against Penn State.
I stopped listening halfway through because that's such a bad take.
What is up? Welcome to Neutral Zone Reaction. We are back yet again on this Tuesday, October 3rd. How you doing, Brady?
I'm doing great. How are we doing, Jules?
I'm doing so well. I'm ready to talk some college football. We haven't done much of that yet this season, but the NCAA season, it's in full swing. We're starting to see who's rising to the top, who's starting to fall. I'm excited. What are you thinking so far?
Dude, I mean, there's been a lot of interesting stuff going on in college football this season. I mean, the quarterbacks are off the charts. Bama's not Bama. I don't really know what to think.
Me neither. I mean, when's the last time Bama wasn't Bama? One might say week 7 of last year, but anyway.
then Tennessee lost to South Carolina. Anyways,
you know what? Here's the thing. The Pac-12 is ridiculous this year, and we'll address them in a moment. But let's start off with the Big Ten, because obviously there's the power two all the time. Ohio State,
power two.
And then there's, the bottom two, like U of I, of course. With no Devon Witherspoon, what even are they this year?
I mean, like, we're in games, okay?
We're
not getting blown out. Besides, like, the second half of the Penn State game.
Yeah, we'll
get better. We'll get better. Our quarterback's new. Luke. I don't have much to say. But we're bad. It's a bad time to be an Illinois football fan. All Illinois teams.
Yeah.
Every last one.
To be fair, I don't remember the last time that it was a good time to be an Illinois fan for football.
Last year we were good. Dude, we were like 7-3 or something last year. We were good last year.
And then they played conservative against Michigan and gave the ball right back to
anyways, yeah, it's an Illinois thing to play conservative and lose big games. Anyways, that's not the point here. The point is we're going to be back. We're going to bounce back and we'll be fine.
Right. For sure.
Because we all know who the better orange is.
Yeah, Tennessee Orange.
Yeah, of course. It's not even close.
So, anyway, looking back at the Big Ten, every single year it's Michigan and Ohio State. So here we are with Penn State in the background. We're whiteout. It's unfortunate they did their whiteout against Iowa this year and didn't save it for one of the big games.
Yeah, but I was so disappointed. Every year Iowa's the same exact team.
Oh yeah, and now their quarterback. Their quarterback.
Every year it's like, will Iowa's new quarterback score? And the answer is always no. Every year. Their coach is also like 95 years old. Their coach like gets out of the grave every Saturday morning to coach that game.
Oh my gosh!
Like, have you seen him, bro?
Yeah,
the big floppy white hair. He's like got a crazy like I don't know. He looks old. Anyways, he's running an offense from the 1930s, and it just does not work.
Yeah, you look at that offense; it's like a high school offense every year. The Big Ten West is a joke, and the East is the entirety of the conference. Even Maryland is a scary good team right now.
Well, Maryland is Tua's brother.
You got his name, or is he just Tua's brother to you?
Yeah, Tulia turned the ball over.
Talia Tagovailoa. I think that's how you say it at least. He's a baller.
He's a baller. I mean, like, there's a lot of good teams. I mean, Penn State's dogging, Ohio State, Michigan, they're always good. I mean, like, yeah, the East is better than the West.
Well, what are your thoughts on who's gonna win it? Who's gonna win that conference this year then? Because Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, they all get to play each other. And I think go ahead.
Yeah, the only team I trust is Michigan. Because, listen, Penn State, like, everyone says Drew Allard is so good. Every time I watch a Penn State game, it is check down, check down, check down, check down, check down. He's like 18 for 23 for 91 yards. It is absurd. And, like, they don't blow teams out either. Like, they're in a lot of close games with games that should not be close. Like, they were close with Illinois to, like, the start of the fourth quarter. Like, their defense is really good, but Drew Allard is not going to beat a J.J. McCarthy, a top Ohio State team. He's not going to beat half the SEC teams right now. I think Penn State's overrated. They have a great stadium. They have a good defense. Their uniforms are meh. Their quarterback's meh. I mean,
overrated.
They're overrated. It's simple. They're not that good.
I might have to disagree with you there. And you're the Big Ten guy here, and I'm the SEC guy. But I'm looking
I was
at
propping up the SEC too. I was like, oh, the
I'm
SEC would be Penn State.
I'm looking. Yeah,
If
that's
Penn State was in the SEC right now, they would not be top 10. I'll just put it that way.
I that's a little hot of a take for that. I
That's
think
6.
Penn
If they
State's
lose
a
one
pretty
more game,
solid
they're
team,
if
and
they
the
lose one
SEC
game to a mid SEC team, they're like 13.
the SEC is a pretty weak conference right now relative to other years, at least in my opinion. The SEC
You know,
has
the
looked much worse.
Georgia's a really good team.
Say that again.
Bama's still a really good team. Georgia's always good. LSU's really good. Auburn looks good. I mean,
But is LSU really good? And is Auburn looking good? I mean, Auburn played well against
Auburn
Georgia.
almost beat Georgia.
They did well against Georgia. Is that Auburn looking good, or is that Georgia looking bad? So I will
I
address
mean,
that
I don't
in
know.
a
LSU
sec.
and Ole Miss had a shootout. I don't know what to
But
take from that. But
back to Penn State. Them and I think them and Michigan can be the top 2 in the Big Ten this year. I think
you not like Ohio State?
I think Penn State could upset Ohio State, and here's why.
I'm
Here's
not
the
sold
thing.
on Ohio State.
Penn State is currently number 1 in the entire country in turnover margin. They're at plus 11. I know they've played some bum teams, but
They haven't played anyone good.
The
best team they've played is Illinois.
When you look at the games with Michigan and Ohio State and all these big teams over the years, they are winning games by forcing turnovers and not turning the ball over. And you know what? Penn State has been in those games in the past few years. They've gotten blown out at the end, letting the other team score a lot in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game. But Sean Clifford, their old quarterback,
there we go.
He couldn't keep the ball in their offense's hands, and their defense was not forcing turnovers the same way. If the way the defense is playing right now, at least, sorry, there's this fly in front of me. The way the defense is playing right now, they seem inspired. They seem like they want to get the ball back for their offense.
Yeah, but the offense is a problem. The offense is not consistent. The offense has no shot plays. Everything's underneath. Everything's choppy. You're not going to win big games. You're not going to beat Michigan with dink and dump for 60 minutes.
They're also going to call different type of plays against Michigan. I mean, for example, Tennessee has been running our patented screen pass the first 4 games of the season, and clearly it didn't work against Florida. But they didn't bring out only screen passes against South Carolina. They finally opened they
yeah, but you think Penn
did a
State's
bunch of different runs. They did a couple deep balls. They did get a few over them. There wasn't as many screen passes. You're going to change the playbook when you play against Michigan and Ohio State. They're not going to
add some stuff, but at the same time, Iowa's got a good defense. You think they didn't open up the playbook against Iowa?
They killed Iowa. Why do you have to open the
Iowa's
playbook? They won like 31-0.
Well, yeah, but because Iowa's quarterback chucks in the dirt every play.
Hey, Iowa's quarterback was Michigan's quarterback just 2 years ago.
What?
Iowa's quarterback, who was Cade McNamara, he was
then he got benched. He wasn't good.
He wasn't horrible.
He wasn't horrible, but he wasn't that good. And Iowa's like the Bears of the NFL. They're a cursed offensive franchise. True.
I won't disagree with that.
I've never seen a good Iowa offense. The best thing Iowa's offense has ever had is George Kittle, and there's not much else.
You look at a defense like that Penn State has trotted out there, and they're going to give them a shot against Ohio State. We saw Ohio State score 14 points until the very last, or 10 points through 59 minutes and 58 seconds of the Notre Dame game. Obviously, there's a way to stop Ohio State.
Ohio State's, they have a new quarterback. I don't think Ryan Day is like everything he's hyped up to be.
I think that everyone is aware of that. But if you're James Franklin, coach in Penn State, you say, all right, let's look at this film. What did Notre Dame do to stop Ohio State for this whole game? And you know what? If Penn State has any semblance of any offense, or if they can even get turnovers inside the 40 or 50 yard line, I mean, that's a winnable game. I don't think
Penn State,
they'll beat
Ohio
Michigan.
State's a toss-up because they're both overrated teams in my opinion.
I don't think they'll beat Michigan, but I think Penn State will trot into Columbus in week 7 and beat Ohio State. I think that's a very possible outcome, and I'm sick of seeing half of me saying that is just me being sick of Ohio State and Michigan being 1-2 every year in that conference. I mean, it just feels like this is Penn State came real close last year, and then they had like a fumble Rooski 6 or scoop and score, whatever, for Ohio State, and they ran away with the game at the very end. But that was a close game. And now you've got, I don't know. I just see Penn State bringing the heat for this matchup.
I don't know. Penn State, I feel like, has been the same team for a long time, and they've just never gotten over the hump of being an elite. They've always been really good, but not like elite. The same thing, like the same way Notre Dame has always been really good, but just never really gotten to that like top team spot.
Well, in our lifetime, before that, they were top of the top.
Well, yeah, but then they got killed in the championship game. I'm just saying, like, they've never been that team that just. They've never been like a 2019 LSU, Georgia, Bama type of team that's just ruled everyone.
You think Notre Dame? Do you think Notre Dame wins out the rest of the year? If Notre Dame wins out, are they making the playoff?
Who do they play?
They play USC for one of their games. They play I think they're home against USC. They're at Clemson at some point, and then the rest of it's a cakewalk.
I think it's very possible. I mean, their loss to Ohio State was one play. They lost by 2. You can chalk that up, and they haven't lost since. I don't think it's far-fetched to say they would, but I think they need a little help because, I mean, like Washington, Oregon, USC, whoever wins the Pac-12, they're in the playoffs. Whoever wins the SEC, they're in the playoffs. I think Michigan is in the playoffs.
I think Michigan's in the playoffs.
And then you got like Texas in there. You got another SEC team. You got Ohio State or Penn State if they keep winning out. I mean, we don't know what's happening in the Pac-12. What if, I mean, like, yeah, you look at Washington, Oregon. What if one of those has a close loss and the other wins the ship? Like,
well, let's move on to the Pac-12. Let's, there we go.
Pac-12
USC
is
Memorial Stadium.
With quarterbacks.
Go ahead.
Stupid amount of quarterbacks in the Pac-12.
Yeah, it's stacked.
It is ridiculous.
Well, the Pac-12 performing so well might kick themselves down the line because I just don't see one of these teams beating all the rest of them. I just don't. It's too many toss-up games, and no one in that conference. I don't think there could be one one-loss team. I could see 3 or 4 2-loss teams, and then they're all competing like. How is one of those teams going to be a top 4? So there's going to have to be a one-loss team.
I feel like there's going to be one team that rises above. I mean, the Washington Oregon game this week is huge.
Absolutely.
USC is rolling. I mean, Oregon State looks really good. Is Oregon State undefeated right now?
No. Oregon State lost to Washington State, and then they beat Utah 21-7.
Okay, then Oregon State's not in it.
With DJ Uigalele.
Utah's really good. Like Oregon State's really good. There's a lot of teams that are going to get fits. But I don't know. I feel like one of these teams, USC, Oregon, Washington, the odds are one of them is going to win out. One of them is going to take the conference. And I think that team makes the playoffs.
See, that's where I disagree. I don't think one of them wins out. I don't think anyone in the Pac-12 wins all the rest of their conference games. It's just not going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah. And
that's fine. That's your take. I just don't.
Yeah. Speaking of the Pac-12, I actually want to go over my biggest surprise and biggest disappointment, which are both involved. I don't know if your biggest surprise and disappointment were.
Are we doing NFL or college?
College.
Interesting. Okay. I got to think of something.
Yeah.
I misread it. I thought it was
NFL. You picked your NFL surprise. Okay. Well, my biggest college surprise so far is Cam Ward, the quarterback of Wazoo, Washington State. And the fact that Washington State, after not being considered for any of these other conferences, I think they're like them and Stanford. No, not Stanford. Them and Cal, maybe. I think they're one of the last 2 teams of the Pac-12. Maybe them and Oregon State. But this team looks legit, and they are playing good football. They put up 50 points at Colorado State, which clearly Colorado struggled with Colorado State. They beat ranked Wisconsin 31-22.
Wisconsin's a disappointment. Wisconsin's like an upgraded Iowa.
Yes, but Wisconsin's still a quality team. I mean, that's a quality win early in the season with this team that had no expectations coming into the year. Then they score 64 against Northern Colorado. Do your job, of course. Put up 60 points, and then they beat Oregon State 38-35. And I watched some highlights from that game. And this dude, Cam Ward, is a dog. He can throw the rock 50 yards down the field. He looks like Justin Fields to Olave in that championship game, back when Fields was good, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And then You get him on the run. He's pulling out some Cam Newton-esque run plays. They got like the design QB sneak from the 3-yard line. I like what I'm seeing from Washington State. The problem is that the rest of the season, a lot of their big games are away games, so that might not work in their favor. But I think that's them and Washington, the two Washington teams, I think are the biggest threats in the Pac-12 right now.
That's fair. I see that. I think that's a good pick.
Okay.
For me, my biggest surprise, I'm gonna shout out Colorado, but that's too boring. Not boring, but like it's too over talked about.
Yeah, we already talked about them a couple weeks ago.
I'm gonna go with Quinn Ewers. Nobody knew what Quinn Ewers was gonna be, and everyone thought that Texas was just gonna be Texas and choke. And Quinn Ewers is balling out. Texas is, I think, third right now, second, third. I mean, they haven't lost. They crushed Bama.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just outplayed Bama. I mean, Quinn Ewers has looked fantastic. He's locking himself into the first round of the draft, and he's been balling. I mean, people say he's too relaxed.
First round of the draft. Okay. We'll see.
I mean, you see his arm talent. He's like, it's a flick of the wrist, and it's 50 yards downfield every time.
We'll see.
I mean, his talent is through the roof. I mean, some people say he's too relaxed when he plays. You don't start at Texas if you're too relaxed and beat Bama. That's not how it works. I mean, the ESPN analysts can say whatever they want. They can say players don't watch film, don't do yada, yada, yada. You can't be relaxed and just go destroy Bama and go 4-0 and just rip through your schedule. That's not how it works in Texas. Quinn Ewers has been a dog this season. He's been balling out, and that's my biggest surprise.
Okay, fair enough. Well, my biggest disappointment. I like your Texas take. I'm going to address that when we go over our playoff picture.
You can't use Tennessee for disappointing.
Tennessee hasn't been.
I want to use Illinois, but I can't do that.
I'm not going to use Tennessee. I could say LSU because they should not have had 2 losses by now, and they sold against Ole Miss, which really disappointed me.
That Ole Miss is crazy.
They had that tough look in the second half, game 1. But I'm not going to pick LSU because I really don't think I thought they were a little overrated going into the year. They lost to A&M last year. They got killed by us last year. And then they got crushed by Georgia, as everyone did.
Jules, you're not on the team. I'm sorry.
I
know you want to be, but they don't let 5'8", 130 guys join the football team. I'm sorry.
170 is generous.
170, sorry.
The thing is with LSU.
Wait, did I get the 5'8" part right? That was right?
What?
The 5'8" part's correct, right?
Close enough. May give or take an extra inch.
But
LSU, I just don't think they were at the top of the upper echelon yet. But there was a team that could be upper echelon right now that is my biggest disappointment. And they're on the screen right now. An undefeated USC team with the glory of Caleb Williams walking into that building, playing like he looks untouchable. He is so freaking good. And their defense is
awful.
Absolutely my biggest disappointment of this season.
It's awful.
Here's the thing. You look at Cliff Kingsbury a few years back. Texas Tech, he's got Patty Mahomes, gets hired to have an NFL job, plays with the Cardinals. Their offense looks all right with Kyler. Their defense looks terrible. And now Cliff Kingsbury is off having a grand old time in Thailand with his one-way ticket down overseas.
I'm pretty sure he's back.
No, he's still in Thailand. He bought a one-way ticket.
I thought he was coaching somewhere.
No, Cliff Kingsbury is not coaching.
I'm looking this up.
So now you look at Lincoln Riley and you say, last year they end up this close to the college football playoff last year. And then they blow it against Utah in the championship.
Yeah,
and then
Cliff Kingsbury is an offensive assistant at USC right now.
Cliff Kingsbury?
Dead serious, yeah.
Last I heard he was still in Thailand.
No.
Well, anyway.
He's a senior offensive analyst.
Okay. Well, Lincoln Riley, you would think after they got so close last year that maybe they'd make some changes to the defense. Maybe he stuck with the coordinator from last year, I believe.
This is also, you mean Lincoln Riley?
They change it up. This team has played so far. I wrote down their opponents. They allowed 28 points to San Jose State. San Jose State has scored less than 28 against Toledo, Air Force, Oregon State.
Illinois beat Toledo. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Exactly.
We
Illinois.
beat
I knew you were
Toledo.
gonna say that. USC
I don't
also
remember how many.
allowed USC also allowed 28 points
I don't remember how many points.
to Arizona State, who is another 1-4 team, and Arizona State has not scored 28 in any game besides the USC game. And then last week, Colorado, without their best player, Travis Hunter, goes to play USC at Folsom Field in Boulder, and USC's crushing them, and it's not even close. And somehow this ends up as a one-score game, 48-41.
Yeah,
USC's defense, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have the best quarterback in the country by so much. Could you do anything for him? They play Notre Dame still. They play Washington, Oregon, UCLA.
Dude, Washington might hang 70 on them.
For real. You might see
Oh
a 65-64 game when they go to play Washington and go to play Oregon. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's why I don't think USC is even a playoff contender at this point, even with the best quarterback in the country by a long shot.
I think that's a great pick. They're very disappointing. My pick for most disappointing is the Alabama quarterback room. It is pathetic. Alabama has had Heisman winners, great NFL players for the last decade at quarterback. And now they have nobody. I mean, it looks like a high school quarterback out there. They couldn't score against USF, Southern Florida.
Hey, you know who USF's coach is?
No, who?
Alex Golish, last year's offensive coordinator at the University of Tennessee.
Anyways, that's all to what I was saying. Because they scored 3 points that game.
I know.
Anyways, I mean, Alabama, they just look bad. They don't, their defense is fantastic. Nick Saban's fantastic. Their receivers are disgusting. Their O-line's fantastic. Running back's fantastic. And they just don't score points. I don't know what it is, but when I saw Bryce Young play for Alabama, they were they shredded college football.
Yeah,
well, you know, Jalen Hurts, matches everyone. It's easy for them. And somehow Alabama cannot move the ball.
When you were 3 or 4 years old, Alabama won games.
It's like a high school quarterback.
When you were 3 or 4 years old, when you were 3 or 4 years old, Alabama won games with the run and with their defense, and they didn't have a quarterback way back then. And now I've seen it.
Yeah, but now it's a quarterback-driven sport.
Well, could be.
Yeah,
you could say that.
It is.
Defense still wins championships.
No, quarterbacks win championships, Jules. The Bears have not won a championship in 300 years, and they've had great defenses.
No, but you're right. The Bama quarterback room, it looks like.
Bama quarterback, it's atrocious. They brought transfers in, they brought a bunch of guys in, and they just cannot do anything.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't doubt them too long. You can't.
I will doubt them. You don't just snap. You don't flip a switch and just get that much better overnight. Jalen Milroe is fine. Like, he's okay. But if you're going to be the starting quarterback and the best option Bama has, you should be a stud.
Jalen Milroe beat A&M last year. That's who they play this week. So
then hopefully he proves me wrong. Go roll Tide, whatever. I don't care.
Whoa.
I can't be touched by that. Look, we're bad. We're struggling up here in football. I don't want to talk about that, but it's just disappointing. Also, Texas A&M is always disappointed. They always lose games they should not lose. Jimbo Fisher always chokes.
That's fair.
So if Bama beats Texas A&M, I would not be surprised at all. It's probably gonna be a 7-3 game.
Could be. Well, let's talk about our playoff picture, because I'm sure that's what the people are interested in, and that's what I'm interested in. So number one, who's your number one team?
I think Tennessee is going to run the table.
Oh, totally.
Sorry, I couldn't contain myself. I think Michigan gets one. I think Michigan is one.
Okay.
I think Michigan. I don't think they lose. I don't know who they would lose. They're not going to lose to Ohio State because they're significantly better than Ohio State. I've said Penn State's a fraud for the last half hour. There's no one else. There's literally no one else. I mean, they're not going to lose like Illinois. That's just not real. My 2 seed is Texas. I don't see Texas losing. I think they roll Oklahoma. I don't know who else they play, to be honest. I don't see them losing. They beat Bama. They're on top of the world. I think Texas rolls into the 2 seed.
Okay.
3.
I hear my 1 and 2 before your 3 and 4.
No, but you say it anyway.
Well, I like hearing myself talk, so
I'm fully aware, Jules.
I've got.
We know.
I've got Texas at number 1, actually, because I started the whole season. At the start of the season, I was saying, "Oh, Texas this, Texas that. I don't think they're that great."
They're
And
good.
now they win a game against Bama, and then they just have been outplaying everyone else. And it just doesn't look like there's anyone else in the Big 12 right now that's good enough to stop them. So I think they'll end up going undefeated and being the 1 seed. And then my 2
Fair.
is Michigan. So we've got just flip-flop 1 and 2.
It's very creative. So why do you think Texas jumps
I
Michigan?
think Texas jumps Michigan solely for the fact that I think Texas can and will dominate every game for the rest of their schedule. I don't they've got Oklahoma this week, who they beat 49-0 last year. Of course, I don't think Dylan Gabriel played in that game. But if they can win this game against Oklahoma, which I think they can, and I
They should win this game against
will.
Oklahoma.
I think they will
Do
beat
they play
Oklahoma.
anyone else?
They play. Hold on, let me pull this up real quick. Texas, and Texas is 3 right now, and Michigan is 2. Texas plays Houston, BYU, Kansas State, TCU, Iowa State, and Texas Tech.
So they're not losing.
So if they beat Oklahoma, they should go undefeated without a problem.
Yeah.
Should is the key word. You never know with Texas. So
Or
I've got
Georgia
them.
State.
I've got them slightly ahead of Michigan because I think Michigan at some point could have a scare, and I think there's a higher risk of them surprising us and losing to Ohio State or Penn State than Texas surprising us and losing to one of those other teams. So that's why I flipped them. Go ahead with your number 3.
Yeah, so number 3, I have Georgia. I think Georgia
Okay.
wins the SEC. Whoever wins the SEC is a lock for the playoff. It's as simple as that. There's
is.
no dominant team in the SEC this year. I feel like last year I would take in Bama, Georgia, Tennessee, probably all those teams over anyone in the SEC right now. Try not to smirk too much. I said Tennessee. I gave you a shout out. But yeah, there we go. I think Georgia wins. I mean, I don't love Carson Beck. I think he's fine, but their defense is really good. They might lose a game here or there. But I don't see anyone overtaking them. LSU is drowning right now. Bama doesn't look good. Tennessee is kind of, they're just not themselves right now. I mean, I don't see who else is going to overtake Georgia right now. And I think
Ole Miss plays Georgia. Kentucky plays Georgia this week.
Oh my God, give me a break. Kentucky's not going to.
Kentucky is 5-0, and they just beat Florida, and Georgia just almost lost to Auburn. So
Fair. Okay,
there's
fine.
a shot.
Kentucky's a trap game, but Kentucky's not going to overtake Georgia in the SEC.
Yeah, I could see Kentucky losing 2 games, even if
I could see them losing to
even if they're Georgia's
49-3 to Georgia.
That's true. That's possible. I think Georgia will win, but I think Georgia's possibly going to lose to Ole Miss. And then let's say even if Georgia wins if they go undefeated through the rest of the regular season, which right now doesn't look like it's going to happen. Even with the easy schedule, it just feels like they're going to drop a game. They don't look that dominant. Even if they
don't. That's the problem. There's no dominant team in the SEC, though, but someone is going to come out of the SEC and make the playoff.
If they don't,
it's a given.
If Georgia goes undefeated and goes to the SEC championship and loses to either Bama or Ole Miss, do you think they made playoff? Because Bama has a loss and Ole Miss has a loss already.
No.
Ooh, I know. Tough one. Tough question.
That's tough because if Georgia runs the table and loses by 3 to Bama, I think they make it. But if they lose a game and they get rolled by Bama, I don't see Ole Miss. Ole Miss does not. Well, Ole Miss wins shootouts. They're not. I don't see Ole Miss beating Georgia. That's just my take.
I think Bama. If Bama beats
Ole Miss got punched in the mouth by Bama.
I think if Georgia goes undefeated in the regular season and then loses to Bama in the SEC champ, then Bama makes it over them with their 1 loss to Texas.
I would agree with you there. And then I'd be wrong, but I think Georgia would beat Bama if they played.
We'll see. Potentially.
So that's what I have. And then 4, I have Oregon.
Okay, there's your Pac-12 team. I've got my Pac-12 team at 4 also.
I was between Oregon and Washington. My guess is you have Washington based on your reaction.
I do have Washington. I have Georgia at 3, and I have Washington at 4.
Yeah, I mean, I was a toss-up, but I feel like Michael Penix Jr. is insane. He's stupid good.
He's my Heisman pick.
He's my Heisman pick. He's my Heisman pick too. Congratulations.
Oh, well,
there's that. I mean, he's averaging 400 yards and 4 touchdowns a game. It's stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
And he has 2 picks on year. I mean, he's ridiculous. He's stupid. But Bo Nix has been balling also. And the Oregon team, Oregon has a defense. I mean, they just shut people down. They shut Colorado down. Like
They do.
Colorado was on top of the world, just put 41 on USC, and they scored 6 against Oregon in garbage time. I mean, Oregon just shuts people down. Oregon's on top of the world right now. Dan Lanning is coaching the boys up. I think Oregon's going to win the Pac-12, and I just think they're going to be the more too dominant to keep out of the playoff.
I think that's
and then
fair.
They get rolled, and then they lose to Michigan, but that's another day.
Well, I think that's fair. I am wearing the DeAnthony Thomas Oregon jersey since my Tennessee jersey is in the wash right now. But unfortunately, Bo Nix is Bo Nix.
Bo Nix is good, dude. Bo Nix is not the same Bo Nix as Auburn.
Hold on.
He's not.
Bo Nix, whether he can be amazing 11 out of the 12 games of the season. But when push comes to shove, there will be a game this year. There will be one game at least. Probably just one, but you never know. There could be 2 losses. I think the one loss is when Bo Nix go backs to Auburn Bo Nix for one game and just craps the bed and forgets.
I don't think you can count on that though. You can't count on him just going back to an old player.
As an SEC fan, you can always count on that from Bo.
I mean, Tennessee does choke every year too.
Number 2, I think they could lose a shootout game against a Washington or a Washington.
They don't get it.
Or USC.
Oregon just rolls people. They don't get in a lot of shootouts. I mean, I could see Washington being a shootout, but I think
they did. Last year and the year before they did.
All I know, okay, this is what I'm going to say. When Washington and Oregon play, Michael Penix is going to have to do a lot more than Bo Nix is to win that game.
You're underestimating Washington's defense.
Washington's defense is good, but Oregon's defense is great.
I wouldn't I wouldn't take that step this early in the season with the way they haven't played either of the top Pac-12 teams, and so I think it's too early to say that. I mean, we were talking about good defenses in the Big Ten, but still with the Pac-12, it's always been like you could have a full-on defensive game like the Oregon State versus Utah game. We haven't even talked about Utah. We're talking like they're out of it. Who knows? Maybe they run the table after losing to Oregon State.
Pretty sure Utah is their backup quarterback right now.
Yeah, once they get Cam Rising back, maybe they're gonna win the Pac-12 again. You never know.
Maybe. I don't know. Utah's not excited enough to win the Pac-12, in my opinion.
They did it the last 2 seasons. They did it the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, but now Michael Penix and Bo Nix are crushing it, and Caleb Williams is still Caleb Williams.
And Caleb Williams is still Caleb Williams, and Cam Ward is going to Cam Ward his way through.
Yeah, Cam Ward, DJ Ungalele, whatever. His name.
Well, that's our top 4. I'll just breeze through the rest of my top 10, which I wrote down for fun, and then we can start going to international games for NFL season. But I've got Penn State at 5. Just saying that if they get this Penn State win, actually I put them a little high there. I meant to have them at 7. I meant to have Notre Dame at 5. I have Notre Dame at 5.
Notre Dame is good.
I think Notre Dame wins out. I have them at 5. I have Bama at 6. I just don't see them losing until maybe the SEC championship.
Fair.
I mean, maybe the Vols will go into Tuscaloosa this year and pull out another one.
Anyways, on a realistic note, you were saying Bama at 6.
Yeah, Bama at 6. Notre Dame at 7. Or Penn State at 7, I meant. Oregon I've got Oregon at 8, Ohio State at 9, and Florida State at 10. We didn't really talk about the ACC. Florida State's a good team, but they don't look like
they're not a dominant team.
Go undefeated right now.
Florida State's not a dominant team. They almost lost to Boston College.
Exactly. That loss exactly.
They didn't lose, but they were a 2-point conversion away from overtime.
So that rounds out my top 10.
I like it. I didn't make a top 10. I'm gonna be totally honest, but
I knew you wouldn't. But that's okay. Let's talk about
international games, baby.
International games, Mr. Worldwide. We've got an international game this week. We had one last week. We've got one the week after that. So let's talk football to the NFL now.
All right, we love that. What are the international games this week?
This week, it is Jaguars against the Bills. Should set up for a great game, hopefully.
Really? I think the Bills roll.
I don't. I think the Bills barely win.
Jules. Really? I think Bills minus 5.5 is one of my Vegas picks this week. The Bills have looked dominant. I mean, they've won by an average of like 25 points their last 2 weeks. It's
Here's
ridiculous.
the thing. Didn't we say the same thing about the Dolphins last week? I was like,
yeah,
no, they're
but then
1
the
and
Bills
6.
did that to the Dolphins.
It was exactly. I'm saying the Dolphins have looked dominant and they should have no problem. Now you're saying the Bills have looked dominant. They should have no problem. This is setting up for a trap game, and here's why. I still think the Bills win by maybe a point or two. Or
point
3.
or 2.
A point. Here's why. You forget that this place is all the way across the world. The Jacksonville Jaguars just played there. They're already there. They have had all week to prepare. No travel, no craziness. They have had this entire time to focus and lock in and build a game plan for this seemingly unstoppable Bills offense all of a sudden.
Oh, wait, they've been in London for 2 weeks. That's wild.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that. It's not changing my pick, but that's crazy.
Yeah, the Jags have been in London for 2 weeks. It's their home fan base, as we discussed on Thursday.
Yeah.
And they had no problem with the Falcons. I mean, they made...
Okay, but the Falcons are like... Desmond Ritter's not an NFL quarterback. Don't count the Falcons.
The Falcons...
As much as you want to say they're good, they scored 7 points.
Yeah, the Falcons went 2-0, and the Jaguars have suddenly made them look like a horrible laughing stock of an offense.
They looked like a laughing stock the week before, too. I mean, like, that's not a new thing.
Yeah, but they played the Lions, who are a legitimate contender right now.
The Lions aren't like a stud defensive team, though.
The Lions have a good defense, and the Jaguars also have a good defense.
That's going to...
They
don't have a defense that's going to stifle anyone.
I think the Jags could potentially figure it out in London this week, just because they've got the advantage. They've got the home field advantage, whether you like it or not. Like it is their fan base there, and they have been there for 2 weeks. And you look at the other side that is having to travel across the ocean, set up shop in London somewhere, get accustomed to this practice facility. I mean, it just plays in the Jags' favor. And I still think the Bills have what it takes to win the game, but I cannot say that this will be a blowout.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying it's going to be like a 21-point game. I think the Bills, I know they're not going to be...
You said the Bills roll, no?
Yeah, they roll. They win like 10, 14 points. They don't win by 25. The Jaguars are a serviceable team, but the Jaguars, they haven't clicked. Like, I feel like they peaked in that Chargers game last year. Trevor Lawrence is like decent. He hasn't looked great this year. And they just like, I feel like they're still putting it together. Meanwhile, the Bills are just dominant currently. The Bills are on top of the world. And the Jaguars aren't a team that defensively is going to stifle that up. And I see the Bills going in there and scoring 35 plus points. And I just don't think the Jaguars keep up.
35 points. Wow. All right. Well, if you had to pick a Mr. Worldwide from this game, I'll give you a sec to think, because this one is something we didn't prepare a pick for. I want this to be more of a off the top of your head type of thing. I'm going to go Ed Oliver, because I think the key to winning this game for Buffalo will be to stop the run. I think if they can stop the run, then they'll have the facilities to control the passing game, even without Tre'Davious White. I know he got hurt. I don't know who's stepping in for him, but clearly they shut down the Dolphins' explosive offense, and the Dolphins were not able to run all over them. They weren't able to pass all over them. I think Jacksonville is going to want to run the ball with Travis Etienne. Wait, his brother is Trevor.
Yes.
His brother is Trevor on Florida.
Yeah, his quarterback's Trevor.
Yeah. Okay.
His name is Travis.
I think Ed Oliver will be the Mr. Worldwide.
Okay.
Who's your pick?
I think James Cook is going to be Mr. Worldwide. Your
Hey,
offensive rookie of the year
Cook,
last year.
A James Cook pick on NZR. We love to see it.
He was a great fantasy pickup. I mean, I think the Bills are going to want to control the ball. They're going to want to settle down the crowd. And I think the biggest way they do this is they give James Cook the rock, and he just goes. So I think he's going to have a big game, touchdowns, yards, whatever it may be. But I think it's going to be in his hands a lot. I think they're going to try to take a little pressure off Josh Allen, hold the ball. That's going to be the James Cook show for a lot of this game.
Okay, fair enough. Next NFL worldwide game is the following week, and that is Ravens and the Titans. Now the Titans, how did they do that to Cincinnati last week? I don't understand.
I will never understand the Titans. They will beat a team like 21-3, 27-3 was the score, I believe. And then just
27-3, yeah.
Yeah, 27-3. Like, they'll beat a good team. They'll stifle them. They'll look like the most dominant, like, well-coached team. And then they'll lose, like, 31-10 to, like, the Jets. Like, the Titans make 0 sense. So, if I had to bet, who do they play? The Ravens?
The Ravens.
Yeah, my guess is the Ravens win that game. But, like, the Titans are the most unpredictable team. They do the most random stuff every week. And it's impossible to predict what the Titans are going to do.
I am going to...
I mean, they do. Ryan Tannehill will throw 4 picks or he'll look like a competent NFL quarterback, and there is 0 in between.
See, I really want to pick the Titans just to disagree with you, but
I'm right.
I don't have any reason to pick against Baltimore here.
Baltimore is balling right now. Baltimore is ridiculous.
Baltimore is such a better football team.
They are. They're good. They're good at every position.
And I'm gonna go with Baltimore. I think Lamar says, you know what? And that one's in London. I think the 2 Munich games are a couple weeks after that. He's going to want to put it on a show. He says, I want some jersey sales out in the United Kingdom.
It's showtime for Lamar.
Lamar's going to put on a clinic out there. And I'm basing this off really nothing but feeling. But I think
it's your gut reaction. We like that.
It's just like I don't know. I'm just getting like that showtime feel from Lamar for like this kind of game where we've seen Ravens and Titans have really tight games in the past years with Derrick Henry, and you know how they stomped on the logo a couple years back, and all that madness. So it's 2 teams that are going to be really rough and physical, and I think that the Ravens with Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith, I don't see Derrick Henry going off, so I'm going to roll with Baltimore, and I'll go Mr. Worldwide for that game. I got to go Lamar. I
was going to agree with you. I think Lamar is going to ball out.
Yeah, I took the less big name pick for the Buffalo game. I'm going with the best player on the field for this next game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that feels like an easy pick.
After that, the next international game is all the way in November, at the start of November. So that's a month from now. A month from Thursday. So the 5th to the 5th. It's a Sunday game.
There's a Thursday night international game. That's
no. It's a Sunday. It's just Thursday the 5th, and then a month later.
Okay, that makes sense.
Dolphins and the Chiefs in Munich,
Germany. That's a fun game.
That is a fun game. I'll pick first for this one because you picked first just now.
Yeah. Just do whatever you want.
Yeah, I whatever I feel like, and I feel like the Dolphins are gonna have an air raid. Because if Zach Wilson can throw on that defense, then you sure know Tua Tagovailoa can throw on that defense.
I mean, the Chiefs defense is like, I mean, like they've been good, but they just, I don't know how they let Zach Wilson do that.
Yeah, and
the Chiefs just haven't. Outside of the Bears game, the Chiefs have not looked good.
You're not wrong.
They just haven't. They've been shaky.
They have been a little shaky.
I think it's the Matt Nagy offensive coordinator syndrome. Like, the Bears had it for a while. That's what I think.
That must be it. I'll go with the Dolphins.
Scientifically proven.
I'll go with the Dolphins. And you know what? You know who hasn't gone crazy yet this year? Jalen Waddle hasn't gone crazy yet this year. He's been hurt. Tyreek's gone crazy. Devon Achane has gone crazy. Mostert's gone crazy.
I think everyone went crazy in that game.
Everyone did go crazy in that game. I'll go Waddle for that game for Mr. Worldwide. I think they beat the Chiefs. And I'll go defensive guy for the 4th game. And what do you think for Dolphins Chiefs? I mean, it's a month down the road. A lot could happen, but
it's hard to say. I mean, I think the Dolphins win the game. I think Tua. I think Tua is going to win the game. Like, that's a boring pick, but Tua is the biggest player in that game. Mahomes is Mahomes, and Tua is the guy who has a chance to take down Mahomes. So if Tua is my Mr. Worldwide, I mean, I think he's going to be the best.
Okay. And then the final international game.
What is this, like next 2024?
No, it's it's the week after the Dolphins game. So they got back-to-back weeks in
only
London.
5 weeks away.
Or they got 3 weeks in a row in London, and then they got 2 weeks in Munich, Germany. And this one, let me tell you, is a thriller of a game. The Colts and the Patriots.
Oh my God. All right, Colts, Jonathan Taylor. Can we move on?
You think JT's going to be with the Colts by then?
I heard a report he's coming back.
I heard a report that he doesn't have any intent to play for them, even though he's coming back.
then I have no idea what I saw. But if that's true, Jonathan
Yeah,
Taylor,
maybe
if
I
he's
saw
there.
something different.
If Jonathan Taylor's there, it's gonna be the
No,
Jonathan
no,
Taylor
no, no.
show.
You gotta pick a more underground guy for this one.
Jonathan Taylor is underground. He's not even like on the team right now.
You gotta pick a lower level name for this guy, for this Mr. Worldwide for the last game.
Then it's Shaq Leonard. I mean, he's gonna destroy the whole offense. I mean, Shaq Leonard's a game wrecker. The Patriots are probably gonna score 3 points again. Shaq Leonard's gonna have 4 picks, 8 touchdowns, and 27 forced fumbles, and he's just gonna destroy the game. He's gonna control the Patriots offense, and the Colts are gonna roll.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
Boo.
Josh Downs.
What? Like the rookie that barely plays?
He does not barely play. He's been getting quite a lot of playing time. I'll go with Josh Downs because every rookie's got to have their game, and I think Belichick's game plan is going to be based around Pittman and
It's gonna be based
Taylor
on
maybe, and
he's gonna make Richardson throw. It's
going to be about making Richardson throw. And you know how rookie quarterbacks are against Bill Belichick.
Bad.
They're horrible. So I could see the Patriots winning this if they had a quarterback, but they don't. And you know what? Maybe they figure that out by November. But Richardson's looked really good so far. I'm gonna say that even if he gets pressured, they need a speedy guy like Josh Downs to make a big play for them. I think he gets a 60 or 70 yard touchdown in this game to pull away and win the game for the Chiefs or the Colts.
I don't hate that.
Okay, cool. I like to hear that.
I've heard worse picks from you, like much worse picks.
Oh, I'm sure. And finally, it is time. Wait, I'm clicking. I'm clicking still. There we go. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing.
Nope.
It's time for This Week in Vegas.
This Week in Vegas.
I know. My mouse stopped
3-2 record. Nice and pretty.
I gotta click by hand all the way far away. We both went 1-1 last week. We only did 2
The Chiefs screwed us.
Yeah, the Chiefs sold. So we're gonna do 3 picks this week, so that you either win or you lose.
And Jules will probably lose. But anyways, Jules, what is your first pick since you like to talk?
I love to talk, and I'm gonna go with the Jets plus 1.5 against the Broncos.
Interesting.
Here's
the Broncos
why.
do suck.
The Jets, you just felt like they should have. You just kind of wanted that happy ending for them last game, and maybe Zach Wilson suddenly has got confidence, and no better team to have your quarterback needing confidence to go play against
than the Broncos
and the Denver Broncos. If
Broncos
Justin
defense is
Fields
Swiss
can
cheese.
throw for what? How many yards did he throw? 400?
335.
335. I wanted him to throw for 400.
He had like 1 incompletion until the fourth quarter. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, he set the Bears franchise record for most completions in a row to start a football game.
Yeah, it was stupid.
I mean, that's exactly who I want Zach Wilson.
He had more yards at halftime than he did any other game this season. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think with Rodgers back in the building, it motivated Zach for something he did, and now Rodney Harrison is on Sunday Night Football after the game talking trash about Zach Wilson to Chris Jones. It's fueling a fire, and I know the defense of New York is pissed off right now from last week. Like they were saying, if he doesn't start playing well and Coach Saleh keeps defending this guy, he's gonna lose the locker room and all this.
Well, he played well.
All this craziness. Yeah, so he plays well. And you know what? If Rodgers is going to return for the playoffs, they have to make the playoffs. So give me the Jets plus 1.5 at the Broncos. I think they should be favored. I really do. I don't think they should be an underdog here.
Right.
What's your first
My first pick is going to be Ravens -4. They play the Steelers. Kenny Pickett is hurt, and the Steelers are just terrible. I mean, the Ravens defense is fantastic. I think the Steelers, I don't even know if the Steelers scored a touchdown this game.
What if I told you I also have Ravens, but my app said -3.5?
Then I'd say you're a smart man. I mean, like, it feels like a lock, right? I mean, like, it's Lamar. The Steelers have been down bad. I get that it's a rivalry game, but the Steelers have their backup quarter, Mitchin. Matt Canada doesn't know, like, I don't even know. He doesn't know what he's doing. You see AB tweeting on Twitter because AB doesn't even know what he's doing. I don't know if AB knows. Anyways, the Steelers' offensive situation is bad. They don't score points. And I just don't see them beating the Ravens. I think the
Me
Ravens
neither.
roll this game. I think they're going to score 3, 6, 9 points, whatever it may be. It's like a 20-6 game.
You know, I picked the Texans +3 against Pittsburgh last week,
It's a
and
great pick.
and
Yeah, they
I
scored
think
6 points against the Texans. Are you kidding me?
and they lose 30-6. I think one more blowout like that versus the Ravens is when they start firing people. And
Yeah,
Matt Canada better be the first guy out the door. So I've
It's
also
bad.
got Ravens. I'll give you the 3.5 since that's what my line saw.
That's fine.
So.
I'd make the same bet.
Hey, we both lost our joint pick last week, so
Okay, yeah, but that's because Mahomes
We'll see
slid
about
at the 1 yard line. That was a fluke.
and so that's my second pick. My third pick, I don't like this one. I really don't.
Well,
But
I wouldn't like most of your picks, to be honest.
someone has to step in front of the Eagles at some point. I just don't see them continue. The Commanders took them to overtime last week, and I think the Rams are a good football team.
The
So
Rams
I've
are
got
good.
the Rams +4.
I don't hate
against the
that.
Eagles.
I don't hate that.
It gives them a field goal to play to, they can lose by a field goal and be all fine. They can lose 27-23 and all push. I saw the Rams there and I'm like, you know what? That's a team that could take down Philly right now.
I like that.
So,
I like that. I think it's a good pick.
Thank you.
So
Go
I
ahead
already
with your
talked
final
about the Bills -5.5. I think they roll. I think they control the clock. I think they've just looked insane last 2 weeks. I think they win double digits against Jacksonville. Excuse me. And then my next pick, I didn't like doing this, but I want to be right. It's Commanders -6 against the Bears.
They're
I mean,
-6?
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you think the Bears can win a touchdown? I mean,
no, I'm just thinking, when is the
week,
last time, besides week 1 against Arizona, when is the last time the Commanders were favored by more than 4 points against anyone?
When Joe Theismann was their quarterback? I don't know. Anyways.
And he's hucking up balls to Art Monk.
I mean, it doesn't matter what the Bears do. Their defense is atrocious. I think Matt Eberflus is fired Friday morning if they lose this. I hope he's fired Friday morning if they lose this game.
I agree with you.
It's bad.
Better be.
Justin Fields is being severely miscoached. Their defense has talent, yet is atrocious for no reason. I mean, they gave up 24 points to the Broncos in 15.5 minutes. It's awful. 17 because there was the fumble, but the Bears had the ball half the court. It's just bad. When the defense needs to step up, they crumble every time, every game. It's without fail.
And as we said in our group chat, Fields' legacy drive, we already know how it's going to end.
Every time. It doesn't matter what happens. It's a turnover or he gets sacked 20 yards after breaking 8 tackles. It's the same thing every time. So Commanders -6. They beat the Bears. They find a way. More of the Bears find a way to lose this game. But
fair enough.
It's my pick.
All righty. Well, that is going to wrap up this week's episode.
Yeah.
We hope you all enjoyed. We're going to have our next episode in 2 weeks from today on Tuesday the 17th.
Yeah.
And let us know your thoughts on the college football playoff and how the season's going so far, what you think of our takes and what your own are. Thanks for joining us today, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.